Shalom, everybody, and welcome. Tony Zaff. Oh, hit. Oh, hit indeed, Tony Zaff. Can you believe it? Kerry and everybody else. We hit 100, and this sucker is off to the races. That's how we used to do it. Remember that? Alpha Wolves Militia. Good evening. It just comes so quickly now. It's like it's insta 100. Went from 0 to 6 to 22. Tony, Nick, not one more inch. Vicky, Leonard Hayes, we're at 63 already. 101. Boom. Let the brief begin. Shalom, everybody. Bear Brief, 27 March. Thank you, boys and girls, for being here. Children of all ages. Welcome to the Bear Brief. Special shout out to our patrons. Could not do this without you. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate y'all deeply. I don't think people understand what it's like to have people support them financially and doing the thing that they feel called to do, but I do, and I really, really, really appreciate you. We wouldn't do this if it was not for you, and we couldn't do this if it was not for you, because YouTube doesn't like people that live out here and carry these on their hips and read their Bible on camera and talk about being independent of the system. So thank you to the patrons. And if you have any intel you'd like to share, please email us intel@bearindependent.com, intel@bearindependent.com, intel@bearindependent.com. Next one of these I do, I'm thinking I just sit in that sheep pen right over there and just let all these sheep just come right up to me. That's gonna be a good one. Nobody cares. Copy. Overview. Recent data reveals that the worldwide curve has spiked. We now have confirmed 585,000 plus cases worldwide. As of the time of this reporting, that has grown. The Intel staff emailed me right before we went live and said, yo, we can't even keep up with the numbers. I said, yeah, tracking. So as of the time that this report was put together, it was 585. It's over 600,000 now, correct?
No.
No?
No, it's 585, 376.
Roger.
27,000 dead.
The U.S. is leading with 97,028 cases. It was 86,000 this morning, so we've added 11,026 cases today.
No, we're at 105,000.
The U.S. is at 105,000. Okay, we're not going to keep playing this numbers game. As of the time of this reporting, Italy has 9,134 deaths, including at least 44 health workers. New York recently hit 100 coronavirus deaths in the last 24 hours. They've had, 500 plus deaths in New York with 45,000 cases in New York City. 45,000 cases in New York City. There's a whole thing here. The creator of the universe and of you says in the book of Revelation, come out of her, my people, lest you partake of her sins and receive of her plagues. Her being Babylon. And I could very easily, without going too deep or too hard, make an argument that New York City is the quintessential Babylon. But I digress. New Orleans may be on track to become the newest coronavirus hotspot with over 2,300 cases reported yesterday. The good news is Spain's infection rate appears to be stabilizing. New point. Members of Congress suddenly returned to Washington late Thursday because they suddenly believed the $2 trillion economic relief package would not pass by the voice vote today on Friday and could be delayed if at least 216 members didn't show up to vote on the floor. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted that he has tested positive for the coronavirus and said, I will continue to lead the government's response via video conference as we fight this virus. Thanks, BJ. You're the best, bro. Or are you? I don't know. I don't care. Just pissed off half the world. Y'all need a new hobby if you get upset at comments like that. 2 or more eyewitness accounts under continuity of infrastructure and supply chains. This is repeating. Essential business personnel, travel permissions, letters, placards, etc. to continue critical infrastructure operations and supply are now nearly everywhere. We are inundated with photos at the intel@barindependent.com email address, inundated with photos of travel permits. This is happening, y'all. And as I've said before, you do not issue permits for things you don't intend to restrict or control. And so call it preemptive, but the minimum time frame that I've seen on these permits that have been issued thus far is through 28 May. So we're talking basically into June on these permits. Letters from railways, USPS, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, manufacturing, automotive repair, groceries, food chains, hospitals, oil and gas companies, and many more. Some reference curfews. Others are addressed to law enforcement, but the details vary widely across the board. Interesting development. We had the United Parcel Service bring a delivery to us here today, and a supervisor was following the truck. The supervisor was not allowed down our driveway, and the trucks unload in the driveway. Command presence is a good thing. Several Amazon distribution centers have had employees test positive for COVID-19. We've talked about this. What we do is we put the stuff out in the driveway and we spray it down with straight bleach and leave it there for a few days. There's been a report out from the Aussies down there in Oz that says, hey, vitamin D and UV light kills this stuff. The sun kills it. Awesome. Just like any other SARS virus, just like viruses in general, UV light kills it. And so we spray our boxes with bleach and leave them out in the driveway for a few days. Then that kind of handles the disinfectant, straight bleach, and the it can live on surfaces for 48,000 days. Well, it lives in the driveway for a few days. And then it also has an opportunity for the sun to shine on. By the way, pushing 500 people, bless y'all. These numbers on these live streams are tremendous. I really, really appreciate it. And I would encourage you to like this, to share this. If you're not subscribed, to please subscribe, because that really helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Again, YouTube does not like us at all. We live out here in the country. We grow our own food. We carry firearms like it's our job, because it is, because we are the first responders. I am accountable at the end of an age for how well I protected and provided for this family on this piece of land. And we read our Bible on camera. And so YouTube hates our guts. So if you could help us combat the fact that they hate our guts by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing this video, telling other people about it, and just hanging out with us when we do this, I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you. UK-based consultancy Maritime Strategies International warned in its monthly outlook the near-term outlook for the container ship industry has deteriorated rapidly following the spread of COVID-19. There seems little doubt that the containerized trade will shrink in 2020, with near-term rates of decline potentially approximating or even exceeding those seen during the financial crisis. Likely the financial crisis of 2008 is the reference. The good news is, if you ever wanted to buy a bunch of containers and weld them together and live off-grid, hey, you could probably find some containers pretty cheap right now, assuming that you could get somebody with a travel permit to put them on a Peterbilt and haul them to your location. And you could find N95 masks to wear while you're grinding the containers to weld them together, but I digress. Gotta find these silver linings, man. Amazon sent an email to its sellers concerning Amazon Fulfillment Services stating, while we continue prioritizing the products we can receive beyond April 5, we are now able to broaden the list. Given our constrained capacity, we are doing this on an item-by-item basis. Verizon is offering a helping hand for most of their plans over the course of the next month by adding 15 gigabytes of data, free international calling, offering activation and upgrade fee waivers, and delaying late fees and terminations for those experiencing hardship due to COVID-19. This apparently is everybody, because I don't feel all that hardshipy right now due to COVID-19, yet I received a text today, because we're on the Verizon network, saying, hey, you get free 15 gigabytes of hotspot this month, no charge, which is typically what free means. So also battle goats. So we keep these goats around. These are our quick reaction force goats. And as you can see, we train them ruthlessly. One of the ways that we do this is by asking them to attack dead bamboo. As you can see, they're absolutely vicious, just terrifying. The Russians won't even come near these things. It's one of the reasons we keep them around. And worst case scenario, we just put a couple of claymores on them and just send them into battle, and it's good to go. So anyway, battle goats. And I would recommend you get your own battle goats. Next page. That was stupid, Bear. I came here for the news. Well, we do the news out here, so you're welcome. UPS shipments may not arrive on time as they have run into numerous operational changes due to the outbreak. Their website reads, suspension of service guarantee, effective 26 March 2020, and until further notice, we have suspended the UPS service guarantee for all shipments from any origin to any destination, meaning it'll get there when it gets there. You're welcome, ? Legal and political. An updated list. Places seriously considering or already instituting essential services only travel restrictions, stay-at-home orders, shelter-in-place orders, or similar official proclamations. States: California, New York, Illinois, Ohio, Connecticut, Oregon, Louisiana, New Jersey, Indiana, Delaware, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin, Washington, New Mexico, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Colorado, Idaho, Hawaii, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, up 3 states from yesterday. At-risk groups only in Georgia and Florida. The number of cities and counties issuing stay-at-home orders in spite of non-action from the state is growing. States with select counties or cities under restriction and adding more are Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri, Kansas, and Tennessee. So we now have 32 states out of 50 states that are restricting some type of legislation or executive order or suggestion on restricting the flow of people, goods, and services. Repeating, many state governments are asking their residents to stay home, closing government buildings, etc. These requests are not orders per se, but most states have demonstrated that when not followed, requests do become orders, often by the urging of concerned citizens. The North Carolina governor has said that additional state directives are coming to slow the virus spread. Currently, restrictions are only in place at the county level. The former UK Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, has called for the creation of a temporary form of global government. Oh, perfect, to be assembled to provide a unified body to tackle the virus. He said that it could address the spread of the virus, production and distribution of essential equipment. I bet you that as long as you have their special mark, you can get access to this stuff as well. And deal with the economic fallout from the pandemic. This comes ahead of the G20 video conference mentioned in yesterday's brief. That's cool. Amen, sheep. Preach it. This rant brought to you by Cherry Moonshine. Tuscaloosa, Alabama is issuing a 24-hour curfew from 29 March through 11 April. So a 14-day, 24-hour curfew. I think that should have been called the Stay Your Ass at Home law. The specifications of this order appear to be identical to most stay-at-home and shelter-in-place orders, allowing work for essential businesses, grocery trips, and exercise. Military. Many continue to note unusual military activity, as is to be expected at this time. If you are a patron, again, you can go to Patreon. Just look for Bear Independent. Look for that logo right there, which not everybody, but occasionally we get somebody who's a couple prizes short of a Cracker Jack box. It's like, Bear, I can't believe you believe in God and you have a pentagram for a logo. That's a pentagon. It's a 5-sided shape. This is an equilateral pentagon, meaning that all sides are the same length. It's not a pentagram, which would be a circle with a star inscribed inside of it, generally speaking, for the forces of evil with the point pointed downward. This is a shape. It's called a pentagon. You would note it from such buildings as the Pentagon in the United States of America. But I digress. Patreon.com. Look for Bear Independent. The entirety of this report, including pictures of armored vehicles, military vehicles on trains being transported around the country, are there, as well as several screenshots of several travel permits, all kinds of stuff going on there. Very, very, very encouraged by y'all on Patreon. Again, thank you guys and girls very much. Medical. Intel from multiple locations have noted that the reported number of positive tests are far lower than reality for several reasons. Repeat. Intel from multiple locations have noted that the reported number of positive tests are far lower than the reality for several reasons, meaning that we're hearing about a lot fewer than the actual number of cases. Hush your face, sheep. 1, only a minority are actually tested at all. And 2, there is a delay around 10 days in Texas, for example, to get results. Then it is sent to the state health department, and then it will be announced after they process it, which sometimes takes a few days. So we're talking a couple of weeks before it's announced that it's actually a COVID case. In New York City, hospital waiting rooms are packed with some patients are waiting 6 hours to be seen, while others are on stretchers while they wait 50 to 60 hours for a bed. But I'm just gonna stay here, you know, it's a nice place to raise a family, the taxes are low, they're definitely not very draconian with their laws. I like small sodas and being unarmed. You know, I love it here. It's great. Believe me, New York City is the place to be. I'm gonna start a rooftop strawberry garden in a 5-gallon bucket, and it's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be my food storage for at least 3 hours. I'm gonna have at least 3 hours worth of strawberries, and then after that, shutting it down, man. Take me to the FEMA camp. Good to go. In Indiana, the situation is looking grimmer now. Case numbers have jumped and are doubling roughly every 3 days now, but tests are limited. At one facility, testing is being done only on medical professionals. Temporary overflow facilities are now being erected. The National Guard is delivering a second wave of supplies to medical facilities in the state. In 2 weeks, there have been 250,000 unemployment claims in Indiana alone. Food and essentials are critically low in stores near population centers. I have been praying over this for 9 days now, but I've been thinking on it for several weeks. I firmly believe, and I have been reaffirmed by my Creator, that I've had this virus. And not just me, but several people that we know and love have had this virus. It is the sickest I think I've ever been. And phase 2 of the Bethany House deployment, myself and many other people were sick. Really, really, really sick. And if you're like, what's the Bethany House deployment? Just go back several videos here. You'll see Grindstone Ministries in action. That's our charitable organization who seeks to be the hands and feet of the Father's kingdom, to go and serve the kingdom as the hands and feet of Messiah. I was sick, hallucinatory sick, 105.3 degree fever sick, pulse oximeter went from 98 to 84 sick, shaking so violently that I could not speak or walk or even put socks on because I didn't have the coordination, that my entire body hurt so bad from shaking that it felt like somebody had just beat the ever-loving tar out of me for several days. Myself and many brothers and sisters, both before I got sick and after I got sick, but in about the same period of time, all had these symptoms. I believe we had it, and then the Father has affirmed this to me. He basically said, hey, I'm not telling you to go out there and expose yourself because you shouldn't, but you've already had it, kid. Yes, sir. Thank you. Now, it was terrible. I totally understand why people who are immunocompromised and or older would not respond well to this at all. It was terrible. I'm a relatively healthy, technically I'm just outside of the military aged male model, and it whooped my ass for several days, but real intensely over a 48-hour period. And so I don't know what to tell you other than do not contract this thing. Like, do not go out of your way to contract this thing. And if it's in you, if there are 45,000 cases within 100 miles of you, you better go. You better go, man. Within 500 miles of you, you better go. If there's 3 cases within 100 miles of you, man, it's time to lock it down. That's one of the things we've been discussing over and over, both amongst our little groups and as a tribe in general, is limiting our viral exposure, because we do have people that cannot get sick with this because they're in the high risk category. So I'm just passing that from me to y'all. All right. Medical PPE is being reused in many places due to shortages. One medical care worker's intel paints the following picture. The shortage of ventilators is causing problems. Triage has begun. Various physicians all have patients that need ventilators. It's becoming a daily battle among us. 16 of 25 of this person's patients in a day were positive. Repeat, more than 60% of this person's patients in one day were positive for COVID. The hospital doesn't want the positive results known, so the staff have to go elsewhere to get tested, and they're getting sick on a daily basis due to overwork and inappropriate equipment. Patients coding and dying en route to other campuses that have ICUs available as well, and so they're not even making it off of the ambulance to the hospital. Humana continues to deny payment for services rendered on patients in a hospital and services needed for discharge. Yay, Humana, good job. Maybe we could take our blinders off as an American society for a minute and admit that, yes, capitalism is wonderful. It's wonderful. It is the economic engine that built the free world. But if you're going to take somebody's money for something, you have a responsibility to them, especially when you have it in writing. I'm not a Marxist, I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, I'm not anywhere near any of that. I believe in the free market, and I believe in voluntarianism. I think that we can voluntarily agree to help one another. But if we have a covenant, a contract, an agreement, and I pay you money, you had better do your effing job, especially when your job is paying for me not dying. That's ridiculous. Societal in general. Pennsylvania. Some inmates charged with sexual assault and domestic violence are walking free from Blair County Prison. According to the Children's Advocacy Center program director, some individuals accused of child rape and similar crimes have been released. Being quarantined does not stop child abuse. It does not stop domestic violence. And for these people where home is not safe, we have concerns. TheDemandProject.org. 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 GrindstoneMinistries.com. 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 Because that is an abomination. And we are doing our worldly best, even amidst this COVID-19 threat, to help put an end to it. It's a $150 billion per year industry. Repeat, $150 billion per year industry. People are flipping out about ventilators and ICU beds. There's 1 million hospital beds in the United States. There are 400 beds in the United States designated by DHS for the rehabilitation of victims of human trafficking and sex crimes. 400 to combat a $150 billion per year industry in the United States. Bethany House, which we are actively working on, will add 60 beds to that number. And damn it, if we're going to call ourselves a country based upon Judeo-Christian values, why do we have a $150 billion per year perversion industry, abomination industry in our midst. I'm not going to go any deeper down this rabbit hole because I'll get pissed and we won't finish this report. But if you want to join us in that fight, grindstoneministries.com. Charitable organization, nobody on the board gets paid. All of the money goes to our operating costs. We're extremely lean and we win battles for the kingdom. And those are the types of battles that we win. Partnered with the Demand Project, which are an awesome group of people whose hearts are in the right place, and they need your help and your prayers as well. So, a 42-year-old LA woman with lupus said her healthcare provider stopped filling her prescription for chloroquine and thanked her for her sacrifice to help treat those seriously ill with COVID-19. Quote, "I am already immunocompromised and not taking this medication likely will put me into a lupus flare, making serious complications from COVID-19 more likely." Michigan. Governor's order closed all gun stores except hardware stores selling guns. She has also ordered doctors not to use or prescribe the medication rumored to be effective for COVID-19. This is chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, and azithromycin. A lady's gonna have blood on her hands. Proverbs 6, the shedding of innocent blood is an abomination to Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord your God. New York, gun stores are not considered essential, and the few stores that do happen to sell firearms and ammunition are nearly wiped clean. Natural disasters, warning, verified sources state that their data is looking ominous for Illinois for tomorrow, modeling, quote, high-end severe weather and tornado outbreak that has the potential to join the history books of some of Illinois. Most notorious outbreaks. Prepare your disaster plan now. This may get ugly. One contributor just emailed that they're getting strong storms in southwestern Missouri. We're going to do a little bit of the single accounts. Again, the entirety of this report is available at patreon.com. Just go to patreon.com or download the app and look for Bear Independent. You'll find us, and I thank you for doing it. You boys and girls are awesome. Single accounts and insider intel from a head nurse in Florida. The numbers are not accurate. If a person that has been tested dies before the results come back from the CDC in Atlanta, it is not counted as a COVID death. Equipment in the hospital is running low. They are being told to sanitize and reuse their disposable PPE. Medical personnel are working 18 to 24-hour shifts due to the number of call-ins. Most of the hospital has been converted to a COVID facility other than other essential designated areas. UV has been shown ineffective against the virus. Well, that's conflicting to that report that came out of Australia. It will get worse due to the length of time the tests are taking to come back. A gun shop run by one viewer, or that one viewer works at, had to close by order of the governor, but they are still doing business by call-in, meeting at the door, doing the trade, then shutting the door. They are bunkered in with plenty of chow and ammo, sharing what they can. Bless y'all. It's a shame that Domino's doesn't work anymore. I'd order y'all a few pizzas. In Seattle, there are so many exemptions that there is very little effect. The people who need their jobs the most, i.e. restaurant workers and hairdressers, are the ones forced out of work. Traffic is only down marginally. The police have stated they aren't going to book any minor crimes and are letting prisoners out that are deemed low risk. From a Mississippi National Guardsman, E5, Mississippi National Guard has deployed only for civil support. No MP units or gun toters. No martial law discussion at all. Medical units are on standby or are being deployed in limited numbers. My source says less than 100. Sustainment units have been mobilized in similar numbers and are distributing supplies across the state from stockpiles and warehouses. Mississippi. Walmart semi-trailers have been broken into in at least one low-crime area. County co-op was out of most seeds and many co-ops were out of baby chicks. Hey, do we have seeds in the web store?
No, we haven't gotten them.
Haven't gotten them yet? All right, we will have seeds in the web store next week. So check back at bearindependent.com if you need seeds, and these are heirloom seeds from the Burning Hearth Homestead. Check back next week at the web store. Many co-ops are out of baby chicks. Amen. Officers have been posted to several stores to control the situation and keep down the issues. Big box store outages. All paper products, TP, baby wipes, diapers, PPE, personal protective equipment, milk, ammo, most common calibers being 223, 556, 40, and 9mm. 40? People are still running 40? Just saying. Sometimes slow and fat does win the race. And here comes a countrified toddler. 9mm, low on soap. You got me a flower? Can I see it, please? Thank you. Do I eat this?
No.
No? What do I do with it?
You smell it.
I smell it? It's wonderful.
Smell it too.
I did. It smells delicious.
And it won't stay. Thank you. Thank you, Wheeze. 223, 556, 40 cal and 9mm, low on soap, low on vitamins, low on cleaning supplies. From a trucker, freight from the East Coast is harder to come by for reloading semis. Freight prices have dropped slightly by 5 to 10 cents per mile on average. Noticing truck stops, limited grocery shelves are becoming empty and not being resupplied. Ports of entry freight has slowed as they're quarantining the ships for 14 days before offloading. Unconfirmed. A city council in Texas may be bribing people with positive test results with a 5-year property tax deferments, the city paying the taxes for the residents in exchange for remaining silent about their test results. Repeat, unconfirmed. However, it appears that one city council in Texas is telling people that have been... Sorry, there's a goat right in front of me right now doing goat things. Squirrel. One city council has been telling people with COVID-19 positive test results that if they keep their mouth shut, they'll get their taxes paid by the city for 5 years in exchange for keeping their faces shut. That's ridiculous. Multiple people have reported mysterious respiratory infections sweeping through their communities and families a month or so prior to the COVID-19 news breaking. Flu test negative, highly contagious, etc. Miscellaneous. We're still getting intel about the rumor of a countrywide communications blackout through 1st of April through the 10th of April. We addressed this in a previous report. Every legitimate source, including direct statements by government officials, as well as an overwhelming number of essential infrastructure communications entities, completely counteracts this idea. The encouragement and institution of remote work for a huge amount of the workforce, including the government itself, is another point against this possibility. Now, this is a point that has been brought up by many people and always references QAnon. All I'm going to say to you about that is do your homework, because if it ever was legitimate, I believe firmly that it has been co-opted for disinformation. That's all I'm going to say on that right now. I got a goat trying to drink my moonshine. It's rough out here. Doesn't mean that everything they drop is wrong, but it does mean that a lot of what they drop is dropped for reasons other than they sincerely want the Patriots to win. Get out of here, goat. Ugh. Battle goats. They don't take direction well. All right, international. Due to reports on the effectiveness of hand sanitizer in combating coronavirus and several myths of alcohol-related cures circulating on social media, many consumed in Iran industrial alcohols such as methanol in the belief it would protect them. More than 300 people have died and a further 1,000 have fallen ill, and at least one child who was given the treatment by his parents is now blind. Please be careful what you pass on through social media. Photos are coming out of countries in Africa such as Uganda and South Africa where they are struggling to enforce their quarantines, chasing street vendors and arresting youths in violation of the order. Many continue to risk the consequences as they simply cannot afford to cease work for an extended period of time. Actionable. For those of you who need approved guidance and contacts for PPE creation, please use this link provided in Patreon. We'll get somebody to drop it in the comments. It's providence.org, www.providence.org. So just check that out. Several medical sources have noted that for whatever reason, ibuprofen and Advil seem to worsen the virus and patient outcomes significantly. If you feel ill, please consider not taking these medications due to the risk that they may be associated with them. Remember that the National Guard and state police are stopping New York travelers at entry to Rhode Island. That's where it was. I was talking about that earlier. They're expected to be posted at bus and train stations, highway centers, and air traffic. A 2-week self-quarantine is mandatory for all incoming New York travelers. From a police officer, even if you think you live in a gun-friendly state or town, you need to contact your local reps and government to make your voice heard. I have emailed and called my mayor, my chief of police, my county council, my state reps, my congressman, and the governor's office. Gun stores that are forced to close now and thereby lose sales may not be able to reopen in the future due to losses. This would greatly reduce the availability of guns and ammo in the future. That's a great thing to think about. Hey, and I see there's some super chat going on in here. I've got the comments disabled on my end for right now, so whoever that was, thank you and bless you. Thank you very, very, very much. I appreciate it deeply. As mentioned in natural disasters, if you live in Illinois, it's time to have a severe weather / tornado preparations in place now, as in tonight. There's severe weather for certain portions of Illinois tonight, and the response is not going to be what it normally is because everybody's on lockdown due to this COVID-19 thing. Again, support your local hospital workers and first responders however you can, whether it's practical support with homemade or stored PPE donations or emotional support with a willing and sympathetic ear. From an experienced ER worker, we feel your love and desperately need it. Be aware of the huge influx of scams, Netflix account issues, stimulus benefits, fake COVID-19 testing, etc. And now for some silver linings, my favorite part of the brief. One viewer has reached out to a few people that turned out to be very like-minded, and a tribe is starting to form. Praise the Most High, that's awesome. One person is seeing friends and neighbors now planting gardens and helping raise chickens because of the current stay-at-home orders in Washington state. We got a little bit of that going on around here ourselves. A group of people in condensed multi-family housing has started a community watch and are starting mini gardens using 5-gallon buckets. That is awesome. A chip deliverer to a grocery store actually had some inventory left on the truck after today's sales route run. Gas was $1.79 at Quick Trip today for 87 unleaded and $2.59 for no ethanol gas. I can tell you here, it is not that. It is really, really, really cheap. Under $1 in some places. In small town Idaho, one person's quilting guild ran out of elastic and paper clips for masks. So the mailwoman put out a call to action and, quote, I swear the entire town had elastic and paper clips hanging off our mailboxes. That's awesome. Good job, Idaho. Also in Idaho, H516 constitutional carry bill has been signed into law. Praise Yah. If you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. I've got 2 swords. That's enough. Simmer down, Peter. One person's local restaurant, the Casablanca Coffee and Grill, is taking donations and distributing food to anyone in need Saturday. Repeat, the Casablanca Coffee and Grill. Google is your friend on that one. I have no idea where it is. The Casablanca Coffee and Grill is taking donations and distributing food to anyone in need on Saturday. They have about 60 cases of vegetables and fruits such as bell peppers, lettuce, squash, zucchini, broccoli, cantaloupe, watermelon. That should be cantaloupe. Why is it not cantaloupe? Why is the U in there if it's cantaloupe? Cantaloupe and watermelon, as well as about 300 pounds of chicken. Any food left over after the food share will be donated locally. They will also be accepting cash donations to help families or out-of-work employees. Home Depot has now given part-time and full-time corporate employees access to paid leave. And an older retired couple with health issues is closing on land in Tennessee tomorrow and relocating ASAP. They say, quote, "Thank you for the daily updates, Prepper Classroom, and all of his good works that come through you. God bless you and your family. Bless you." And a brief note, Grindstone Ministries, which is our charitable organization, we are looking for an attorney with a specialty in trademarking, and we are looking for a grant writer. Repeat, an attorney with a specialization in trademarking or somebody that knows something about trademarking, and a grant writer. If you are that person or know that person, please email us at ntxmag@gmail, November Tango X-ray, Mike Alpha Golf @gmail. ntxmag@gmail.com. Put in the subject line, Grindstone. These are not paid. We don't have the money to pay you. Every dime that we earn goes towards blessing the Father's kingdom to the best of our broken ability. So this would be a volunteer position against again, a trademark attorney or an attorney that knows something about trademarking, and a grant writer. NTX Mag, November Tango X-ray, Mike Alpha Golf @gmail.com. Again, if you need to share intel with us and bless you and thank you for doing so, you can email us at intel@bearindependent.com. intel@bearindependent.com. There are precisely 0 A's in the word independent. intel@bearindependent.com. What did we do today? I went and got tires on my truck because I had to have them because I had racing slicks on the back. And while I was doing that, Yankee Survival over here cooked my family breakfast. Thank you, brother. That was cool. He also fed my animals while I did a podcast. And the link to that podcast, as well as many others, is in the community section on YouTube, posted on Patreon, and also linked on Instagram. You can find it on iTunes. You can leave the Bear Independent podcast. And we read Isaiah 8 this morning. We cut down a tree, a fairly big pine tree. We are in the process of burning it right now.
Show him Sam. Lots of people have been
Yeah.
talking about Sam.
Hey, Sam. There he is. It's him right there. Good boy. Sam is doing fine. Sam got hit by a truck a few days ago and he's doing fine. We cut down a tree. We pulled down an old fence. We set the posts for a new fence. And after Shabbat on first day, on Sunday, we will hang new fence on those new posts. We talked with our neighbors quite a bit today. We had some neighbors came over and did showers and did laundry. Met with some other neighbors and talked with them about where to find local honey for allergies, and got given access, verbal permission to hunt 80 acres of their land in one place, and an invite to go murder hogs in their creek bottoms in another place. So yeah, neighbors are great. It's good to know your neighbors. And what did we have for lunch? We had beef stroganoff and garlic knots for lunch, and it was delicious. And we're having homemade chicken Alfredo pizza for dinner. And then it will be Shabbat, and we are at the end of John 1 in our home Bible study. And tomorrow morning I will read Luke 24 and Deuteronomy 30, don't remember, 2, ? Which we'll post next week. And that stuff we'll post tomorrow. And that's what we did today. As you can get all of your bear gear at the store. IFAKs, man, we've been ordering IFAK stuff like crazy. You guys have been blowing us up with IFAKs, individual first aid kits, purpose-built gunshot wound care kits, better than what is issued to the United States military per the Air Force pararescuemen, the PJs, you know, the special forces that rescue special forces. Our kits are better than what they are issued to go rescue special forces. So You know, and we do institutional orders as well. Just sent out 16 kits to a PD in Florida. We do, you know, cleat training, stop the bleed in TCCC in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And so we're happy to work with departments. We can give you discount pricing on quantity on that. Made in America, guaranteed forever. North American Rescue components. We're still shipping today. Like we're making it happen. So you can get that at the Bear Store, bearindependent.com, goods and gear, t-shirts, swag, hats, coffee mugs, stickers, patches, blah, blah, blah. All the blah, blah, blahs are there. Bibles. If you need a copy of the scriptures and you can afford one, get it at the Bear Store. That's our cost. We make no money on that. If you need a copy of the scriptures and you can afford one, just email us, November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf at gmail.com, ntxmag@gmail.com. Put in the subject line scriptures and I will give you one. And I have one to give you because lots of people have donated Bibles to us and we've stocked a bunch as well. And we've given away well over 100 Bibles. We're probably pushing 200 Bibles now. I rebuke you, wind, in the name of Yeshua, knock it off. Yeah, there you go. So if you need a Bible, a copy of the scriptures, you can get it at the Bear Store as well. If you can't afford one, just email us, ntxmag@gmail.com, subject line scriptures, and we'll hook it up. And I'm happy to do so. There's no shame whatsoever in that. Just get at us and we'll get a copy out to you ASAP. And then as always, thank you, patrons. Y'all rock. We couldn't do it without you. We wouldn't do it without you. We're deeply thankful for you guys and girls. You make this viable for us to do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Patreon.com, just look for Bear Independent. Let's talk to the creator of the universe. He misses us. He made that clear to me this morning. He said, hey, where you been? I said, I'm sorry, sir, I've been busy. And he said, no shit. I said, yeah, my bad. And so let's talk to him. Father Yah, thank you for using busted up POSs like me to serve your kingdom to the best of my broken ability. Father, thank you for the fact that even though the world is crazy, you are still sovereign over all things. Father, thank you for your Shabbat and for an opportunity to rest and to do no work. Father, thank you for provision and blessing. Father, thank you that even though the world seems to be going crazy, it's really not that bad yet. Father, and I pray that if it ever does get that bad, that you would just continue to remind us who it is that drives the bus. If there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, I rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to destroy itself because I'm over it. Father, thank you for these people. I pray that you would bless them. I pray that you would make it clear to them what it is that they are to do to serve you, to experience your provision and blessing, to know you deeper, to walk with you daily. Thank you for redemption and restoration through Yeshua Messiah, through Jesus the Christ. Father, thank you for making a way for even us. I pray that you just continue to walk with us, to guide us, to show us how to do this. And I thank you for your mercies when we forget, when we stumble, when we don't get it right. Pray that you just continue to be our Yahuwah, our Elohim, the Lord our God, and make it clear to us that you are sovereign over all things. I ask these things in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Bless y'all. I pray you have a restful Sabbath. I pray that you are not exposed to this virus, and that if you are, you know, whatever, if you are, it's the Father's will. I guess what I really pray is that you get as in line with the Father's will for your life as possible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us in what we do, for tolerating this redneckery and shenaniganery, and as we try and figure out, even as a channel, what it is that we're supposed to do to actually bring value and be a benefit during this time, to not just talk about fear-mongering and doomer porn and 12 reasons why the zombies are gonna kill your dog and use it for bait or whatever, and actually try and be human beings and express compassion and show mercy and love and function to the best of our ability given the situation. So it means the world to me that y'all support us in that, and thank you for doing it. That's all I have. Thank you. We'll see y'all Sunday.